When should a man get a vasectomy?
Well, if he doesn't want to spread his seed far and wide, obviously, or if he's done having kids because it's what he wants to do, not because of the wifey.
Okay, well then let me ask you this. Should a man get a vasectomy?
I personally don't like knives. I don't see myself, hacking myself up like that. I'm gonna probably pass. Like in Dominic's case, he went and I think we talked about this on one of the podcasts. He went and did that unbeknownst to Ashley and said, "Hey, by the way, I got a vasectomy," and she was like, "I'm out," because she wanted kids, and so that created some problems. Obviously, we've seen those videos, and so she dipped out, and then he was like, "Everything's gonna be great." We did a podcast with it, and then a month or so later, he's like, "I want to get her back." So he went and undid the plumbing, reconnected it, and the doctor's like, probably take about 3 months to prime the pump for little swimmers to kind of build up, ready to deploy, get one past the goalie when needed. And I think she got pregnant maybe 3 or 4 weeks after that. So he's a healthy dude. He's strong like bull.
Well, what about from a different perspective, like on birth control? Like, what if the woman doesn't want to take an oral contraceptive or put in an IUD because it's not the safest option?
Well, the patriarchy is undefeated. It is a man's world.
I don't know
So
about
you
that.
can wear a condom, you can pull out, which neither one of those are 100% foolproof. So either way, you're going to be rolling the dice. I'd say if you don't want to have kids, it's a good way to do it. I don't like the idea of, because I was asking Dominic, I was like, what happens to all the little swimmers if you just cut them off? You can't blow the barrels out. He says, oh, the little sperm just gets reabsorbed in your body. I was like, are you sure? That doesn't sound good.
Are there any like side effects of getting one?
I don't know. I remember when I was a kid, I think I was probably 5 or 6. I remember my dad got one. And I don't know why I remember this. You guys, I'm going to share these nice details with you. But I remember my dad sitting on the edge of the bathtub in his bathrobe. He man spread it, and my mom was down there snipping off the stitches. Like, whatever. I didn't really understand time. It was just, hey, we're just not going to have any more kids. I was like, okay. I didn't really get that. I was pretty young. But he never got, that was it. And he was, let me think, he was 20, probably 25 at the time. It's a long time ago.
Good job, Dad.
He was 25 when he got it done.
My parents got, my dad asked my mom to prom. And then because they both worked at Publix, he was like a stock boy, stocked the shelves. She worked at the cash register, obviously. He asked her out to prom. They started dating and got married when I think they were 19 or 20, and they had me when they were 21. My dad was actually deployed in Vietnam at the time when I was born. So they got started early. I mean, that's what they did back then. You typically marry your high school sweetheart, start a family right away, and then
That's pretty young.
it's a different era.
I mean,
Was it this? Sorry.
No,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Was it the same? Would do they do the same procedure the same way they did back then? Now?
Well, it was the chicken bag, so they slice it. It's like at least now it's like an outpatient thing. They just little small incision,
Yeah.
pull the tubes out. They put staples on it, cut it,
It's kind of like how they.
and tuck it back in, little stitch action. It's all like an outpatient thing. But when you go to get it reattached, they
It's a
put you
procedure.
under. They get a nice big giant incision in the chicken bag, and so it's like
They
microsurgery.
redo it. It's like
So, and it's like 95% effective to reconnect, and obviously worked in Dominic's case. So,
I feel like I would explain it as like neutering a dog the first time.
Well,
Plus the
neutering
elementary.
a dog, you take their balls out.
No, you don't. Well, yeah, you cut them out, but in this way, you would like leave them in and just like kind of tie it off.
yeah, the balls stay in. They're
Yeah,
just
you
That
just-
was like,
you
wait a
just-
second, that doesn't make
kinda
sense with the
No,
dog.
but you like kind of just like tie it off, but leave like the blood supply.
Yeah.
You
Well,
just
I'm sure after like
It's strictly the tubes.
Yeah,
the
you
The
just
vasectomy,
cut
deployment
tubes.
tubes.
you're not supposed to
The cannons.
Yeah.
The
get
cannons are disabled.
excited or anything like that because it's pulling on your scrotum.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't sound very fun.
So back to the whole it's a man's world kind of thing. It's kind of a little upsetting to kind of say that considering us women, we also have a choice whether or not we want to take, contraceptives.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm just saying.
Well,
Everything has downside risks.
Yeah, but why is it that, when it comes to the whole man's world thing, why do we have to succumb to the whole, oh, we have to take birth control, this, and that? If a man wants to do that as well, like the whole vasectomy, and they're comfortable with it, they should, but why do we have to be the ones to do everything ourselves?
That's what
At the
you're
end of the
saying.
day, we're the ones that get pregnant.
It's
At
a
the end of
man's
the
world.
day, no. It's a man's world, patriarchy-wise, yeah, but if we don't want to put
We
birth,
provide
if
your
we don't want
blanket
to
of
take birth
freedom.
control,
We die in all the wars. We take all the dangerous jobs.
okay,
Not
We're the
but
ones who
always.
give up our
we-
income. If you live in a blue state, then the laws are completely slanted in the woman's favor, and oftentimes the guy doesn't even get to see his kids, or if he gets remarried and wants to have kids with a new family, he's so financially distressed that he can't do it. I had a friend, his after he got divorced, or in the process of divorce, they had agreed how they were going to split everything up, and so he signed over some real estate to her. Because they had agreed. He was like, hey, we got kids together. Just handle the formalities. And so after he stupidly signed over a quitclaim deed on some real estate to her, she reneged on the deal. And because legally, and the judge was like, hey, you signed these things over to her. And so on top of that, she got a bunch of his other property as well in the divorce. And she tells him, looked him right in the eye, and she says, I wanted to take so much of your money that you couldn't have another family. So she wanted to basically leave him financially destitute and take as much of his net worth as possible. She was willing to lie to his face and swindle him. I mean, it was his. I was like, why didn't you call me and ask me this? Because I used to be in real estate. It was like, you signed a quitclaim deed of all these properties. And I was like, what a dummy. I was like, I love you to death, bro, but that was stupid. And, she did it. She was malicious about it. So she smiled to his face, and then she knew exactly what she was doing. She did it on purpose and admitted it afterwards, and she didn't care. Because she had the properties now. They were hers. And because he claimed those to her, he also had to give up half of his other investment properties that he had with her. So, and her whole thing was, I want to take as much, even though she came from a very wealthy family, very wealthy, even though she's set for life. She didn't care. She wanted to take as much of his net worth so he couldn't get remarried and afford to have children with anybody else. That was her thinking.
Yeah, but
And
she's
that's
just
why a
toxic.
guy gets a vasectomy, so he doesn't just lay around children like that. He wouldn't have to deal with a situation like that.
Yeah,
Or
Perfect.
he could just pick
Yeah.
better partners.
exactly that too. That too.
Yep.
All right.
Imagine that conversation someday, having that conversation with your kids when they're all grown up. This is what your mother did to me. So, I always say, it's like, always know your downside risk, especially if you live in a blue state. Before you get married, go see a divorce lawyer and figure that stuff out. Know what your risks are, know what your financial exposure is, because you might not like what they tell you.
And on that note, Florida's full, so please don't try to come here.
Yeah,
No
please.
communists, no socialists.
Next question.